All of Hollywood's attempts of making video game movies have led to this moment. They've tackled my favorite video game series. I promised myself that if this movie was bad, I would be done for video game movies for life. Will I have to hold on to that promise?
We work in the dark to serve the light. We are assassins.
Hey there guys, how are you? It's me, the Canadian movie buff, with a review of Assassin's Creed. So Assassin's Creed is based off the video game series of the same name, but it doesn't adapt a particular story. Instead, it follows a man named Callum Lynch, who is a death row inmate who is supposedly executed. But surprise, he wakes up in the Abstergo facility and is told that he has to relive the memories of his dead ancestor so that they can find a legendary artifact called the Apple of Eden. This is the fourth video game movie of 2016, and the first three haven't managed to break the video game curse. So this movie is going up against the challenge of breaking said curse while also being faithful to the source material. And while I can't say that that curse hasn't been broken, the spell is definitely weakening. Keep in mind that I love the video game series, so I may be a bit biased. One thing is for certain about Michael Fassbender, he never gives anything short of 100% in his performances, and this role is no exception. We've seen him play Magneto in the X-Men series, so we know he's capable of being a leading character, but we've never seen him in the lead of a movie that is straight up action-packed. So this movie is sort of a testament of that he can be a leading man of almost any movie. Jeremy Irons also does a great job too. He plays this Templar master who runs Abstergo. You get an uneasy feeling about the character, like you know he is smart, but he can also be deceptive. He seems to have a logical plan, but you're not sure if he's alright up there. The cinematography in this movie is also very reminiscent of the video games. There's a couple times where you're following this eagle as it flies through the city, and that kind of reminded me of missions in the game where you're sort of mapping out the area and you're trying to figure out how you're going to kill your target. I'm glad Justin Kurzel noticed that little detail in there and brought it to the big screen, because in the end, we all care about the little details. Another thing Kurzel takes from the games and brings into the movies is the action. The fight sequences are fast-paced and a little bit blurry, and you don't know what's going on, and there's a little bit of a sense of controlled chaos in there. I can't stress this enough when I say this. The fight sequences in the movie were really authentic to the games. I read somewhere that all the stunts they had were very practical and had no CGI. That was a huge plus on their part, because whenever I was watching an action sequence or where they were doing jumps and flips and stuff, I was thinking to myself, oh, they went to an actual location and filmed it there. They didn't use a soundstage or a green screen. By the way, the leap of faith? They got a stuntman to jump 125 feet. That makes it the highest freefall performed by a stuntman in 35 years. Something like that really speaks to the attention of detail that they're willing to give to this movie. By splicing two different time periods and bringing a lot of elements in from the game, I'd say Justin Kurzel was the right man for the job. If and when, but most likely if, this movie gets a sequel, I hope Justin Kurzel comes back. They got a lot of things right with this movie. The cast, the stunts, the action, even the usage of the Spanish Inquisition makes the movie stand apart from the games, since none of them have used the Spanish Inquisition before as a setting. While I do admire the movie for bringing in aspects from the games, it fails to recognize the one thing that fans hate: the present day setting. And unfortunately, there's a lot of it. That's the problem with this movie. The present day is what drives the story forward, yet the past is just something fun for us to see. They think that the past is just eye candy and filler for the audience, when the fact of the matter is the games are two stories in one. And yes, the present day is an overall arc, the past is a self-contained story. Ezio avenging his family, Connor getting justice for his tribe, Arno clearing his name, and Jacob freeing London from the gangs. So because they didn't recognize the past as an integral part of the overall plot, there was very little focus on Callum's ancestor, Aguilar. We barely spend any time with the assassin and the Spanish Inquisition that he doesn't feel like a properly developed character by the end of the movie. It's like, oh, we're in the past, here's the assassin, he's going to do something cool, look, and he's gone. I blame the sloppy writing for this, mainly Bill Collage and Adam Copper. For those of you who don't know, these two guys wrote the script for generic young adult dystopian sci-fi movie number 5, also known as Allegiant. It's not entirely their fault. Michael Leslie was the third writer on this, so they all share the blame. But knowing their previous work, Leslie was probably the only reason why this movie had any redeemable qualities. Collage and Copper, this one's on you. With the year we've had, and with Ratchet & Clank, the Angry Birds movie, and Warcraft not getting any critical acclaim, Assassin's Creed had a lot of pressure on it to be great, but because it didn't quite meet the expectations, the critics slammed on it. Is it a great movie? No. Is it an abomination that should be buried and forgotten about? Absolutely not. Granted, it could have been better, but in no way did it deserve such a beatdown. They got all the right elements, they just need to figure out how to use them properly. Here's what I'd suggest. Get rid of the Allegiant writers, put more focus on the past, make the assassin the main character instead of Callum, and give us a couple minor characters from the game. Maybe Sean and Rebecca. As a fan, I will most likely go see this movie again and possibly buy it on Blu-ray, but as a casual moviegoer, you may not like it as much. However, Assassin's Creed is definitely worth seeing at least once in theaters. It's a bit like Batman v Superman. If you were unsure about it the first time, go see it again and then make up your mind. Alright, that's my review of Assassin's Creed. Have you seen it? What did you think about it? What video game do you hope becomes a movie, providing that video game movies actually become good? I'm keeping my fingers crossed for a Deus Ex video game. But then again, the dystopian future setting may seem a bit too similar to Blade Runner or Total Recall. Leave your answers by commenting down below, and as always, this is the Canadian Movie Buff saying I hope you had a fantastic weekend at the movies. See ya!